Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general monthly read for the sign of Aries, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of August. I hope you are well. Using the Pagan Otherworlds deck for you today. Just before we start, if you find the reading resonates with you and you would like to go a little bit deeper, there will be an extended that is available. You can go to at the end of the reading. The link is down in the description box. It will be the top link. But I have also completed the 6-month overviews for each of the signs. There is a considerable amount of work that has gone into those, and none of them are less than over 2 hours. Some of them run to 3. There's 30 hours of of readings there, and that's in the second link. So if you're interested in those, do go and check them out. Seems like an age since I've sat here and done a monthly read. I mean, obviously it's about a month, but you know, all the same. Anyway, like I say, I hope you're well. So, let's get 3 cards for you and see what's going on with you. Can I have 3 cards for Aries, please? Thank you. There is the first one. We have the 8 of Swords in reverse in your recent past. I like that for you very much. Current energy for Aries, please. We have the 8 of Cups in reverse. Interesting. And what's coming towards Aries in August, please? Thank you. We have Death, also in the reverse. This is an extremely interesting energy, Aries. We have the Magician at the bottom of the deck. I'm going to pull some clarifiers and see what on earth is going on here. Which deck was it? Was this one that wanted to be used? So let's give a little swoosh over here. And close the window in a moment when the cauldron's burned down. So, tell me about the 8 of Swords in reverse, please. Thank you. We have the 2 of Pentacles. Ooh. And the Page of Cups. Interesting. Tell me about this 8 of Cups in reverse, please. We have the Tower. And the 9 of Swords. Okay. Tell me about Death in reverse, please. Thank you. We have the 6 of Swords in reverse. And the Fool, which is your card, Aries. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Ace of Pentacles, followed by the 6 of Cups. Yeah. Let's get this window closed. The noise starts kicking off. I'm sorry if you can hear a dripping, but it's actually raining really quite hard outside, and as is traditional now, my library is leaking. It was leaking onto my box of books, but I put a jug there now to catch all of the water, and that's what you can hear dripping in the background. So let's have a look at this. This is interesting because we have the 2 cards that you would expect to see in the tarot that talk about movement away from something, and they have both shown up in the reverse, which indicates a coming back is the first thing. But there's a lot of topsy-turvy energy here anyway. It feels a little bit like 2 steps forward and 2 steps back, actually, if I'm honest. So we'll start with your recent past, and I was rather heartened to see that we have the 8 of Swords in reverse. Now, this way around, it speaks of restriction, of feeling confined, of feeling trapped by circumstances. And the reality of the situation is that often we are trapped by our own minds. We are in some way limiting ourselves with something, right? But to see it in the reverse here, it speaks of a liberation, it speaks of a mental liberation. And I'm rather heartened to see that we have the 2 of Pentacles and the Page of Cups supporting this. Now, the 2 of Pentacles, you can see that there's, I often say that this is the card that seems to vary the most between decks, and I have a frightening amount of tarot decks at the moment, and this one, you know, sometimes it's a very perilous situation. Sometimes they're pulling off extreme gymnastic feats, you know, to keep these pentacles up in the air. But this one, there's a balancing act going on here, you know, as we always see in all of the cards. But there's this pure maelstrom going on behind. Now, water in the tarot speaks of emotions, and your emotions particularly. It seems like you're getting a handle on them. Right? Don't think that the character in that card ever looks particularly happy, but they're pulling it off, they're doing it, right? And with all of this going on behind them, it's somewhat of a feat that it's happening at all. But then we have the Page of Cups. And I like this because often when the pages appear, it's a sort of a change of direction of sorts. And what this would say here is that what was emotionally very difficult is now starting to lift somewhat. And I would imagine it's because you've sorted out the way that you feel about something, right? Where you felt limited and trapped, you've realised actually you are empowered to get out of that in some way. And I always say at the root of everything is one's perspective. So not feeling trapped, getting to a point where you can balance your emotions, and then getting ready to sort of head off in a new direction. And the Page of Cups also deals with ideas of forgiveness and compassion. You know, sometimes it's an apology, you know, but I'm not really feeling that here. But it might be true for some of you. Like you've had an apology, or you've apologized to someone, and it's kind of liberated your perspective of where you are, right? But when we move into your current energy, it altogether seems a bit more erratic, because we have the Eight of Cups. It's appeared again in the reverse, and like I said, it's a coming back energy rather than a moving away from. So it feels, with the way that the cards have laid out here, that whatever it was that you sorted here has kind of resurged in some ways, right? And it's clarified further by the Tower and the Nine of Swords. It seems like where you are at the moment, the energy that you are in at the moment is very, very challenging. You know, the Nine of Swords follows on from the Eight of Swords, you know, where we feel trapped and restricted and we don't feel like we've got any kind of, you know, exit from a situation. It would lead inexorably to this position here where, you know, we are struggling with insomnia, or we have some sort of, you know, the weight of the world feels like it's on our shoulders at this time. I always say, if you woke up in the middle of the night, what would be the thing that was on your mind? What would be the thing that you would be thinking about in the wee hours? That's often what we see here. But again, I don't know if you've ever seen any of my videos before, but I've kind of got this arbitrary rule about swords, and generally swords down are bad and swords up are good. It is a kind of arbitrary rule, and I do have decks where it isn't quite that case, but usually the Nine of Swords are depicted horizontally. Now that effectively causes a sort of neutrality to these swords, and so what we're looking at, what dictates whether these swords are good or bad, is the perspective of the person who is looking at them in the first place. Now, because this came up in reverse, because you have liberated yourselves in some way, and emotionally it looked like it wasn't yet comfortable, but it was kind of getting to a place where you could deal with it. This feels like a situation coming back that you thought you had dealt with, that you thought you had moved away from, and it bringing this energy to you. Now, more often than not, the Tower is given to be a Scorpio card, but it does have a link with Aries too. I think it's because of Mars being, you know, the astrological correspondence, or planetary correspondence, right? But it's you in your most chaotic form, right? It's maybe the experience of your existence at this moment, and there's a resurgence of the things that you were worried about because this situation has come back. Now, this can also be overthinking a situation. It feels very much like something's come in, something's happened very, very suddenly, and you don't really know which way is up anymore, right? You've done so much work to get yourself to here, and then suddenly it's come back again, and you know, what do you do about it? Well, at the moment it looks like what you're doing is worrying, what you're doing is overthinking, what you're doing is being stressed out. I'd like to clarify the Tower a little bit more because what I do see from the energy of the cards that are on the table at the moment is that there is something that is trying to close, but it's not quite happening, not perhaps in the way that you made peace with initially. in the recent past. Oh, we'll dig into it a little bit. Tell me about this tower, please. What's the tower here? I'm not taking all of these. I'm not even sure that this is the deck that wants to be used. Let's have a look. Try again. No, we're going to go with the Tarot of the Abyss, right? Fair. Tell me about the Tower, please. Got the Ace of Wands and the Two of Pentacles. Yeah, see, a lot of this seems to be predicated around endings and beginnings, right? It's that kind of void, that vacuum that sits between the two of them. You have not yet started anew, afresh, because there are things that are trying to exit your life, or you are trying to get away from those things, and it just keeps coming up. Now, when you're in a position where things just keep coming up like that, it is, again, a perspective thing. Like, what are you not seeing about this situation, Aries? And when I say that, it's like, pull yourself away from the Nine of Swords energy, from the Tower energy, from the trauma that seems to be coming out here, you know, the overthinking and the concern and the worry, and look at it with a more detached perspective. What is this energy trying to teach you? What are you being shown at this point that you have not yet noticed? Because that's usually when things just keep coming back and back. Sometimes it's the way that you're thinking about the situation. In other times it can be that there's something about your responses and your reactions that it is asking you to examine. Now, we've got this Ace of Wands and the Two of Pentacles here. Two of Pentacles again for you. Again, totally different depiction here. In this one, we have two characters, both in the Pentacle of Peace. And they're both swinging the pentacles, and they're both facing in different directions. And there's a pulling apart here of something, Aries, whether it's a relationship or what. And it looks like people or situations and you are trying to go in opposite directions, but you're kind of being sucked back, right? Both of them holding an Ace of Pentacles apiece, and then this Ace of Wands here. New starts, new life, new ways of living here, but struggling with trying to balance it with something else. Now, when we come to August, what we have is Death in the reverse. Now, Death in the reverse is not a comfortable energy, right? Well, death in the upright often isn't a comfortable energy. It can speak about endings, but I always see everything as a cycle, as a circle, right? You know, you get an ending coming in, and a beginning is also starting to try and come in too. Right? And it can be uncomfortable. We don't like it. It can be quite challenging energy, but ultimately what is leaving, it's for the best that it's going. But for some reason, it's coming back. It's not closing out the way that it's supposed to, right? The death energy comes in, and nothing can withstand the energy of death, right? It clears everything out, much like the Tower does too, right? Pulling towers down so that you can rebuild from the rubble. Whether, you know, you want to build exactly the same tower again, and that's usually not advisable. Usually it's a pick that rubble up and go and build a different tower, right? Maybe one that's not so tall, but a little squatter, you know, a little more able to withstand the emotional storm that we see going on here with all the water everywhere, right? Sometimes you've got to go and build it somewhere else. Sometimes it might be better for you to build a house and a little farm rather than this whacking great big tower, right? It depends how it refers to you. Both of these energies are talking about clearing things out, moving things out of the way, taking from your life those things that are not for your highest good to put you on a different path, because the Tower is a course correction here. But it's not happening in the way that it's supposed to. And there's all this new energy that's trying to push through, but it can't come in until space has been cleared. Now, with the Six of Swords in reverse and the Eight of Cups in reverse and Death in reverse, it's bringing me back to this idea that there is something that you are not seeing about a situation, right? We've got the Six of Swords there, like I said, in reverse, but we also have the Fool. Now, you are the Fool, Aries, right? Always first in the zodiac, right? All of that incredible energy. We've got this, you know, this adventuring intent here, you know, the ability to be able to throw yourself off a cliff and trust that you are going to land in the right spot for you. And it's interesting that as I say, trust, my internal tuning fork just went off the scale there, because there's something about this situation that you are not trusting. Now, whether it is that you can leap and you will land where you need to be, or what, the resurgence, the return of this energy, whether you are going back to it or it is returning to you, I think it is speaking about a fear of the future. It is a fear of not landing where you need to be. Now, I have to say, with all of the cards that are coming up here, and like, let me not remind you that the Ace of Pentacles was right at the bottom of the deck here. Like I said, this new energy is all around, but currently it does not have the space to come in. So Aries, what are you not trusting? Are you not trusting yourself? Because I feel like that's probably a big thing there. Have you lost your faith? Have you lost your trust? These are things that it looks like in the month of August it would be advised to sit with, you know, because it feels like there's a lesson under here that it's really, really important for you to learn, a change of perspective, a little bit of wisdom that can be gleaned from the situation that you have not seen here. Now, it's big energy, it's very challenging energy, and it does speak to the something quite profound going on within you at the moment. I'm going to pull just one more card. Because it really does feel like the end of a chapter here, right? The end of a major cycle that's happening for you. And often these things are accompanied by, you know, big spiritual awakenings. Like that tends to be the catalyst that brings the new in, because then you are able to release what was before. And, you know, whether this situation or this person or whatever it is coming back to you like a magnet over and over again, and you're trying, you know, to get away, or whether you feel compelled to go back to something. There's a deeper lesson, there's a broader wisdom under here that is not about holding on to what you have, but looking at why you're holding on to it, or why it's trying to hold on to you. Can I have messages, please? See, so we have the Magician and we have the Three of Swords, and the Magician was at the bottom of the where's it gone? Oh, it's under there. The Magician was at the bottom here of the Pagan Otherworlds, and you know, you have everything that you need. You have an incredible toolkit at your disposal, Aries, and I think that you are actually oblivious to the content of this toolkit, because the Magician coming up twice is going, you've got everything you need. You don't need to go and shop for, you know, new tools to stick in that you know, you don't even need a bigger box. Everything is right there as you need it. You are powerful, you are capable. So why is this going on here? Yeah. I mean, for some of you, it is about having to let go of particular people. We've got the Magician with the Three of Swords, right? And this feels like it's the block for you, because it's there with the Four of Pentacles. There's the block. You are wounded about something. You are hurting about something. Now, how can you look at this differently? How can you change your perspective and work out what it is that your soul is being shown here? What is the lesson? Because we've got the Three of Cups at the end there. Three of Swords, Four of Pentacles, Three of Cups. This involves people. And whether you need to release particular people, or you need to release the pain that is associated with a person or people. I feel like it's more than one, Aries, right? There's a kind of collective thing going on here. Is it a falling out with a friend group? Is it falling out with your family, you know? Or is it a need to leap off, be true to yourself, but there are people that you don't want to leave behind? Right, the Magician's here saying twice you are strong enough to do exactly what you need to do, and actually you need to be true to what you are being called to undertake at this moment. But there's a lot of pain underneath all of this, Aries, and it kind of needs to be pulled up and have a look and be looked at. Right, I'm going to leave it there. So I'm going to go across to Vimeo now. So if this has resonated with you at all, just follow the link in the description box, and don't forget about the 6-month readings, because they're there too. Like I said, 30 hours of my life plus has gone into making those. So in the meantime, if none of that appeals to you, that's also absolutely fine. Know that I love you all very, very much, and I will see you soon.